Today we are here with the top 10 Jujutsu Kaisen characters ranked on the basis of strength. We already know that Jujutsu Kaisen has a wide range of characters, and unlike other shonen, the characters in JJK have a lot more depth. Before we begin the list though, let us warn you about the spoilers, but I'm sure if you are seeing this video, manga readers have already spoiled each and every bit of the story for you by now. Also, this list has the characters from the whole storyline, and not just the characters who are alive. Otherwise, the video would not be the top 10 strongest characters. Instead, it would be about only 10 characters who are still alive. If you believe that the strong survive and the weak die, well, Jujutsu Kaisen will make you realize that everyone dies, no matter how strong they are. My name is TK. Let's get into some anime. At number 10, we have the guy who conquered shorts, reels, and TikTok in the last few months. Toji Fushiguro is an infamous assassin known as the Sorcerer Killer. Toji was a former member of the Zenin clan, but he wasn't born with any cursed energy. Most people would think of it as their bad luck in Jujutsu world, but not Toji, who used it to sneak around Jujutsu sorcerers and of course kill them. Apart from his amazing build that made the majority of the fandom simple after him, Toji is widely known as the only person who was able to nearly kill Satoru Gojo. He's a cool-headed and confident man who does not sweat over the small stuff, such as never winning a bet. He might have won someday, but he got turned into an Apple logo by Gojo. But at least he wasn't cut in half, I suppose. Being one of the most elite fighters to have ever existed, Toji was a specialist at using a wide variety of weapons. With his heavenly restriction, Toji's lack of curse energy was compensated with heightened 5 senses. He had immense strength, speed, and reflexes, but most of all, his tactical intellect was unmatched. To be able to defeat Gojo and Geto when they were called the strongest sorcerers is not everyone's cup of tea. That being said, Papa Fushiguro 100% deserves this spot. At number 9, we have Hajime Kashimo, who was known as the God of Lightning. He is a sorcerer from 400 years ago and is currently inhabiting the body of someone Kenjaku prepared as a vessel. You'll get to know Kenjaku soon as well. Hajime is one of the guys whose only purpose in life is to fight strong opponents. Kashimo used to be the strongest sorcerer of that era and was called the God of Lightning because of his abilities. Apart from that, Hajime is excellent at hand-to-hand combat and has great tactical intellect, and we'll get to know all that in his fight against Akari in the next season. He also possesses the innate technique called Mythical Beast Amber that reconstructs flesh in order to manifest phenomena that he converts from cursed energy. Don't worry, we'll get to see him in action in the Culling Game arc. All these years though, Kashimo has been wishing to fight the strongest, and in the recent chapters, he finally got to live his dream. However, manga readers know what happens next. At number 8, we have Kenji Hakari, the one who fights Kashimo in the Culling Game arc. Kenji is a third-year student at the Tokyo Jujutsu High, but if you're wondering why we haven't seen him there yet, that's because Kenji is currently suspended for clashing with authority. Right now, he's running the Kachinko Fight Club, which is a venue for hand-to-hand combat between sorcerers for, obviously, money. Mr. Buki Kenji is a very self-absorbed type of person who cares little for the rules and regulations, and everyone else thinks of him as good for nothing. Kenji only respects those who are as crazy and obsessive as him though. Despite these traits, and not too good of a reputation, Kenji is really strong. How do we know he's strong? That's because the strongest sorcerer of all time, Satoru Gojo, stated that one day, Kenji Hakari and Yuta Kotsu will have the potential to rival even his power. Yuta believes that when Kenji's fired up, he's on a whole different level. Other than that, he has another skill that is really important for someone who wants to pursue a bookie career, and that is luck. Kenji is not only very skilled, but also extraordinarily lucky. His domain expansion is called Idle Death Gamble, which creates an environment resembling a train station with a game of chance. In this domain, Kenji has a probability of hitting the same 3-number jackpot with only a 1 in 239 chance. Kenji Hakari versus Hajime Kashimo would be a battle of craze. Since we put Kenji above Kashimo, that does not mean there was a big difference in their strength. It was a really close margin though. At number 7, we have Yuki Tsukumo. She's the girl who approached Geto when he was on the verge of submitting to the dark side. Yuki is one of the only 4 special grade Jujutsu sorcerers. The other 3 are, of course, Gojo, Geto, and Yuta. However, she is not aligned with Jujutsu High because she does not agree with the methods of the higher ups, so she doesn't take on any missions. She's a nonchalant and playful person who is never afraid of speaking her mind at any moment. Remember the famous question that Todo asks whenever he meets a new boy about the kind of girl they like? Yup, it came from Yuki, who asked him this question when he was a kid. Yuki's own type is a hard-working, tough guy who isn't afraid to get his hands dirty. Time to work hard and hit the gym, guys. Other than immense cursed energy, Yuki has a Star Rage technique that grants herself and her Shikigami some virtual mass that aids in destructive attack force. She can also use the reverse curse technique to heal herself. About her Shikigami, it's named Gardu, which becomes a curse tool for her to utilize. Her domain expansion wasn't shown in the manga, unfortunately. Maybe that's because she went up against Kenjaku. Now, I don't think we need an introduction for this man. At number 6 is Suguru Geto, the special grade Jujutsu sorcerer who was a noble guy and the babysitter slash best friend of Gojo Satoru, and the antagonist of the Jujutsu Kaisen movie. He developed a deep hatred for non-sorcerers after he saw everyone suffering for their stupidity. He decided to create a world without non-sorcerers. You know how people set a goal and don't work hard enough to pursue it? Geto wasn't one of those who would just search on YouTube on how to create a world without non-sorcerers or tips and tricks on killing 100 non-sorcerers every day. Man really made a grand statement by massacring over 100 civilians in a single night. He right away earned the title of the worst of all curse users. Geto has immense cursed energy and uses cursed spirit manipulation. As we already know, he can absorb the curses and use them at his discretion. We saw in the movie how Geto used over 4,000 curses in his battle with Yuta. However, Yuta proved to be more powerful than Geto and defeated him. And later, Gojo, who used to say that we are the strongest, started saying I am the strongest after killing Geto. Yorozu is at number 5 and was a Jujutsu sorcerer from 1,000 years ago. She incarnated Sumiko Fushiguro's body for the Culling game and was obsessed with battling Sukuna. Yep, Sumiki is Megumi's sister. She was a confident, wild, and brash-natured woman who only lives for herself. She cared less about anything or anyone else. She was on par with the greatest sorcerers of the Heian era. Her technique was really powerful, but it consumed a lot of energy. Her technique was construction, which means she could recreate any substance she recognized except for special curse tools. However, this technique used a lot of curse energy, so she's not the best suited for long battles. Her domain expansion was called Threefold Affliction, which contains oversized organic structures floating within it. The constructed items in her domain will be 100% land a hit. You may think of it as a lame domain, but it was quite effective. Unfortunately, she went against Sukuna, who had 15 fingers of power, so the battle was one-sided. Not because she's weak, she did well, but Sukuna is just way too OP for anyone to be able to take lightly. That brings us to the 4th most powerful character in the Jujutsu Kaisen series. It's Yuta Okotsu. Yuta was the main character of Jujutsu Kaisen 0, the movie, and he started off his high school as a special grade sorcerer. Before Gojo blackmailed the higher ups to let Yuta enroll in Tokyo High, he was a special grade cursed human haunted by his late childhood sweetheart, Rika Orimoto. We haven't seen him before or since the movie, so let me tell you, he's training overseas with Miguel and will be back after the Shibuya incident. Yuta was a very timid and lonely boy who lost all confidence in himself, but we saw an angry Yuta when Geto hurt his friends. Yuta has immeasurable cursed energy because he also has a genetic relation to Michizane Sugawara, just like Gojo Satoru does. It manifested when he transformed Rika into a cursed spirit. Sukuna is the king of curses, and Rika is the queen of curses. That's how strong she was. While connected with Rika, Yuta can copy others' innate techniques and use them. We saw him use Unumaki's curse speech. He can also summon a Shikigami and use the sky manipulation technique to manipulate space itself. He can also use the reverse curse technique, and his domain expansion is authentic mutual love. His domain is a field of cross-shaped structures littered with countless katanas and ringed by ropes linked together in a love-themed pattern. This domain expansion is so incredible that it allows Yuta to land unrestricted copy techniques that he has copied over the years without any restrictions. He can use them repeatedly as many times as he wants, and they will always land. This also doesn't take into account Rika's power. To put it simply, if Yuta and Rika were to be two separate characters, both would have still made it to the list, and combined, they are perfectly suited at the 4th spot. You must already be aware of who the top 2 are, and if Yuta is 4th, who is the one in the 3rd spot? Well, it's Kenjaku. We have been seeing Geto in season 1 and again in the Shibuya arc, but if Geto was killed by Gojo at the end of the movie, then how are we seeing Geto with stitches? That's because it's not Geto. It was Kenjaku in the whole season 1 and in the Shibuya arc. He is an ancient curse user who has existed for over 1,000 years, using the innate technique that allows him to transplant his brain into other people and control them. Before possessing Geto's body and exploiting Geto's curse spirit manipulation, Kenjaku possessed Noritoshi Kamo, the late head of the Kamo family, and Kaori Itadori. Yes, the mother of Itadori Yuji. When Itadori was born, no, even when Yuji's father made the transaction for Yuji, it was Kenjaku and Kaori's body all that time. His real appearance is unknown, and he can only be distinguished using the scars. For his personality, though, he can imitate the ones he possesses and is a calm and calculating being. He is the one who gave a new body to Kashimo, and he is the one who defeated Yuki before we could see her domain expansion. Now Kenjaku can do everything that Geto could, and even has an anti-gravity system that negates gravity. This technique belonged to Kaori. Kenjaku's domain is wound perfusion, which takes the form of a giant pillar made up of cursed spirits. Kenjaku will also gain idol transfiguration, which used to be Mahito's technique, but it would be a one-time use. So yeah, Kenjaku gets the 3rd spot. On number 2, we have Satoru Gojo. Some might have thought he would have been at number 1, but unfortunately, the recent events have proved that Gojo may not be the strongest character in the series after all. However, Delulu is the best Delulu, so we hope that Gojo will prove us wrong and claim to be the strongest after putting back both of his pieces together, but we're not holding our hope for that. Without a doubt, Gojo is the strongest Jujutsu sorcerer of all time. He is the first person in hundreds of years to inherit both the limitless and the 6 eyes, and is a descendant of Michizane Sugawara. Gojo is charming, Gojo is confident, Gojo is the strongest. Throughout the heavens and earth, Gojo alone is the honored one. Except for Toji, no one was ever able to give Gojo a hard time. Gojo has an immeasurable curse energy that can almost never run out. He has the inherited technique of limitless that allows him to manipulate curses at the atomic level. Limitless can be divided into 4 forms. Infinity, that doesn't allow anything to touch him unless he wants it to or turns it off. Blue, that converges everything into it. Red, that diverges and bursts everything in the vicinity. And purple, that contains both blue and red to create an imaginary destructive mass. 6 Eyes plays an important role in the precise usage of Limitless, so Gojo's curse energy usage is always minimal, hence never ending. Gojo knows the reverse curse technique too, so let's hope his never ending cursed energy somehow reverses him back into one piece. Gojo's domain is the unlimited void that creates a metaphysical space that causes the victims to receive all kinds of stimuli endlessly, to restrain their thought and processes and actions. Gojo's domain is the 2nd strongest domain of all time, and the only one who was able to break Gojo's infinite domain is Ryomen Sukuna, the strongest character in the Jujutsu Kaisen series. With the release of some of the latest chapters, Sukuna has earned his spot at being the strongest. Sukuna was the strongest Jujutsu sorcerer from 1,000 years ago and is an undisputed king of curses. According to the legend, he was an imaginary demon during the Heian era, but in truth, he was a sorcerer known as the Disgraced One. The Jujutsu sorcerers of the Heian era, which is known as the Golden Age of Jujutsu sorcerers, gave their all against him, but ultimately fell, one by one. After death, he split his power into 20 indestructible fingers, and was reincarnated in 2018 when Yuji consumed one of these fingers. Hats off to Yuji for rarely giving him control, but after transferring his soul into the body of Megumi, he gained full control, and then a long battle of Sukuna vs Gojo took place, and then the unfortunate happened after that. Afterwards, Sukuna gained back his original form, and then defeated Kashimo and several members of the backup squad. As of now, no one stands a chance to defeat Sukuna, so all we can hope is for a miracle. Sukuna too has vast levels of curse energy, and Yuta, who is supposed to have more curse energy than even Gojo, states that Sukuna has at least double the amount of curse energy than him. Sukuna's innate technique is still unknown, but whatever he does it at the max possible level, such as Dismantle, Cleave, Spiderweb, and Fire Arrow. His reverse curse technique is unmatched, and can use domain amplification that allow him to neutralize Gojo's limitless technique and physically touch him. His domain is called the Malevolent Shrine, which creates a Buddhist shrine decorated with skulls. His domain doesn't create a separate space and forms a binding vow by allowing an escape route, which vastly increases the guaranteed hit effective area. This domain is by far the strongest domain in the Jujutsu world, period. Therefore, Sukuna is the strongest character, and hopefully there's still something that we don't know yet, but maybe there'll be a shakeup in the number 1 spot very soon to come. Alright everyone, what do you think of the video? Do you think there are any other spots where some characters could have squeezed into the top 10, or some that shouldn't be here at all? Let me know down in the comment section below, and if you like the content, please like, subscribe, and share. My name is TK, loving us some anime.
挽回千本桜影吉